Jnanakosha, Puranas.
सर्गच्च प्रतिसर्गच्च वंशो मन्वन्तराणि च वंशानुचरितं चैव पुराणं पञ्चलक्षणम्.
Kurma Purana, the yugas. You probably remember that there are 4 yugas or eras: Satya Yuga or Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. Lomaharshana told the sages about the characteristics of these 4 eras. Kali Yuga is the worst of the 4 eras. People are sinful and forget the dharma of the 4 varnas and the 4 ashramas. In fact, men are so sinful that no prescribed penance atones for their sins. The only place which is free from such sins is the sacred city of Varanasi. The Satya Yuga, the best course to be pursued is meditation. In Treta Yuga, it is the pursuit of knowledge, jnana. In Dwapar Yuga, it is the performance of yajnas, and in Kali Yuga, it is the donation of alms. Brahma is the primary god in Satya Yuga, Surya in Treta Yuga, Vishnu in Dwapar Yuga, and Shiva in Kali Yuga. Envy and jealousy were unknown in Satya Yuga, and everyone was happy. There was no superiors and inferiors, and all individuals were equally healthy and equally handsome. There were no fixed places for people to live in, no cities and no villages. Men lived in the mountains and on the shores of the oceans. In Satya Yuga, water was always freely available. This was no longer the case in Treta Yuga. Water only became available when it rained. Rain was unknown earlier, and as it rained, trees began to grow. People lived on these trees. The fruits from these trees provided the sustenance required to make a living. But gradually, anger and jealousy came to be known, and many of the wonderful trees disappeared as mankind picked up evil's ways. However, enough trees were left to ensure that people did not die of starvation. They lived on honey gathered from the trees. Although men looked on Satya Yuga with nostalgia, ill health and disease continued to be unknown even in Treta Yuga. But towards the end of the Treta Yuga, people became really sinful. All the trees disappeared. To make a living, mankind had to resort to agriculture and animal husbandry. The weather became inclement, and seasons like summer, monsoon, and winter led to hardship. Notions of property were also introduced. Individuals appropriated mountains, rivers, lands, trees, and herbs as their own. To instill righteousness in the minds of people, the principles of Varna Ashrama Dharma were set out towards the end of Treta Yuga. In Dwapara Yuga, hatred, anger, and jealousy became much more common. Fighting started. It was then that Vedavyasa spread among ordinary people the knowledge that was in the Vedas by dividing them. Drought, death, and disease came to be known in Dwapar Yuga. In Kali Yuga, fraudulence is the norm. There were severe droughts and famines. Revolutions take place. People are liars and sinners. They are easily angered. They do not respect the Brahmins. The Brahmins, on their part, forget all about the Vedas and Yajnas. Shudras become kings and oppress the Brahmins. Some Shudras shave off their heads and wear saffron clothes. They pretend to be religious teachers, and horror of horrors, people start to believe in these fraudulent teachers. Women wear hairpins in their hair. As if this alone were not enough, they refuse to obey their husbands. Thieves are everywhere. The only redeeming feature of Kali Yuga is the fact that even if one worships Shiva just a little bit in Kali Yuga, one attains undying punya, store of merit. Lingas. A linga is an image of Shiva. There are several wonderful lingas in the wonderful city of Varanasi. There is a gigantic linga named Omkara. Ah, amongst other famous lingas located in the city are Kritivasheshwara, Madhyeshwara, Vishweshwara, and Kapadhideshwara. The Kurma Purana recites the glories of these lingas. It also enumerates the various tirthas, places of pilgrimage, that are to be found in the city of Varanasi. It goes on to list the virtues of Ganga, Yamuna, and the city of Prayaga. Geography and astronomy. It is hoped that Swayambhu Manu had a son named Priyavrata. Priyavrata had 10 sons. Their names were Agnidhara, Agnibahu, Vapushman, Dhyutiman, Medha, Medhatiti, Bhavya, Savana, Putra, and Jyotishman. Medha, Agnivahu, and Putra had no desire to rule. They were not interested in material pursuits and became hermits. Priyamvrata divided the earth amongst the remaining 7 sons. Thus it was that the earth came to be divided into 7 regions or dvipas. The names of these regions are Jambudvipa, Palakshadvipa, Shalamadvipa, Kushadvipa, Kronchadvipa, Shankaradvipa, and Pushkaradvipa. Agnidhara ruled over Jambudvipa, Medhatiti over Palakshadvipa, Vapushman over Shalamadvipa, Jyotishman over Kushadvipa, Dhyutiman over Kronchadvipa, Bhavya over Shakhadvipa, and Savana over Pushkaradvipa. Agnidhara, the ruler of Jambudvipa, had 9 sons. Their names were Nabhi, Kimpursha, Hari, Ilavrita, Ramaya, Hiranyavana, Kuru, Bhadeshravashva, and Ketumala. Agnidhara divided Jambudvipa into 9 regions, Varshas, and gave each of his sons a region to rule over. A king named Bharata was one of the Nabhi's descendants. After the name of Bharata, the region that Nabhi ruled over has come to be known as Bharatavarsha. There are 14 regions, lokas, in the universe. 7 of them form the upper region. Their names are Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, Swarloka, Maharloka, Janaloka, Tapaloka, and Satyaloka. Bhuloka is the earth, and its limits extend up to the point that can be lit up the rays of the sun and the moon. Take the distance from Bhuloka to the solar circle. An equal distance beyond the solar circle constitutes Bhuvarloka. The region from the limits of Bhuvarloka to the region of Dhruva, the pole star, is Swarloka or Swarga. Above the solar circle is the lunar circle, and above that come successively the regions of the stars, nakshatras, Buddha, Mercury, Shukra, Mangala, Brihaspati, the Saptarishis constellation, Ursa Majoris or Great Bear, and Dhruva. Shani, Shatru, Brihaspati, and Mangala move slowly. The sun, the moon, Buddha, and Shukra move relatively fast. The sun's chariot is drawn by 7 horses named Gayatri, Vrihati, Ushnika, Jagati, Pamki, and Shtupa, and Trishtupa. In each month, the sun adopts a specific form known as an Aditya. There are thus 12 Adityas: Dhata, Aryama, Mitra, Varuna, Shakru, Vivashvana, Pusha, Paranjanya, Amshu, Bhaga, Tvasta, and Vishnu. Maharloka is above the world of Dhruva. It is reserved for those who have been freed from the bonds of the world. Janaloka is still further away. Brahma's sons live there. Tapaloka is beyond Janaloka, and Satyaloka is beyond Tapaloka. Another word for Satyaloka is Brahmaloka. Since Brahma lives there, Vishnu lives there as well. The Kurma Purana does not mention the 7 lokas that constitute the lower regions of the universe. This is the underworld Patalas. There are 7 seas that surround the 7 dvipas on earth. The names of the seas are Kshara, Ishka, Shura, Dhrita, Dhati, Kshira, and Swadhu. The names of the 7 oceans often differ from Purana to Purana. Right in the center of Jambudvipa is Mount Sumeru. To its south lie the mountains Himavan, Hemakutra, and Nishada, and to its north the mountains Nila, Shweta, and Shringi. Bharatavarsha is to the south of Mount Sumeru. Brahma's assembly is located on the peak of Mount Sumeru. Manvantras. You directly know what is a Manvantara now. The titles of the 7 great sages, Saptarishis, the names of the gods, and the title of Indra change from the Manvantara to another. In the present Kalpa cycle, 6 Manvantras have passed. The first Manu was Swayambhu. The second Manu was Swarochita. The gods then were the Parvatas and Srishtis, and the title of Indra was held by Vipashita. The 7 great sages were Urja, Stamba, Prana, Dambholi, Vrishabha, Timira, and Arvavarina. Uttama was the third Manu. The gods of this Manvantara were the Sudhama, Satya, Shivas, Pradhanas, and Vashavaritris, and the name of the Indra was Shushanti. Raja, Gotra, Urdhavahu, Savana, Anaga, Stupa, and Shukra were the 7. Sutapa and Shukra were the Shukra were the 7 great sages. The 4th Manu was Tamasa. The gods of this era were the Suravas, Haris, Satyas, and Sudhas, and the title of Indra was held by Shibi. The 7 great sages were Jyotir, Dhama, Prithu, Kavya, Chaitra, Agni, Varuna, and Pivara. In the 5th Manvantara, the Manu was Raivata, and the title of Indra was held by Vibhu. The gods were the Bhutis and the Vaikunthas, and the 7 great sages were Hiranyaroma, Vedashri, Udhavahu, Vedavahu, Shuvahu, and Suparjanya. The name of the 7th great sage is missing here. The Manus, Swarochisha, Uttama, Tamasa, and Raivata were all descended from Swayambhu Manu. The 6th Manu was Chakshusa, and the Indra then was Manojava. The gods were known as the Adyas, Prasutas, Bhavyas, Prithkuas, and Lekhas. Sumedha, Vrija, Vishman, Uttama, Madhu, Abhimana, and Shashishnu were the 7th great sages. The 7th Manvantara is the one that is now current, and the Indra now is Purandara. The Manu is Shraddha. The gods are the Adityas, the Vasus, the Rudras, and the Maruts. The names of the 7 great sages are Vashishta, Kashyapa, Atri, Jamadagni, Gautama, Vishwamitra, and Bharadwaja. In the present Kalpa, there will be 7 more Manvantras in the future. Therefore, after the world will be destroyed. It should Vedavyasa. In every Dwapar Yuga, a Vedavyasa is born as to divide the Vedas and disseminate their knowledge. In the present era, there have been 28 Dwapar Yugas, and there have therefore been 28 individuals who have held the title of Vedavyasa. The Kurma Purana gives their names as Swayambhu Manu, Prajapati, Ushan, Brihaspati, Savita, Mrityu, Indra, Vasishtha, Saraswata, Tridhama, Rishabha, Sujeta, Dharma, Sachashu, Tramayaruni, Dhanyajaya, Kritajanya, Ritajanya, Bharadwaja, Gautama, Vachashrava, Narayana, Trinavindu, Valmiki, Shaktri, Parashara, Jatukarna, Krishnadvaipayana. Krishnadvaipayana Vedavyasa divided the Vedas into 4 parts and taught them to 4 of his disciples. He taught Kaila the Rig Veda, Vaishapayana the Yajurveda, Jaimini the Samaveda, and Sumantu the Atharva Veda. As for the Puranas, they were taught to Lomaharshana. Shiva's incarnation. Most Puranas only mention Vishnu's incarnation. The Kurma Purana is one of the great ones which mentions Shiva's incarnation. In each Kali Yuga, Shiva had an incarnation. The names of these incarnations are as follows: Shweta, Shutara, Madana, Shuhastra, Kanaka, Lokakshi, Jaigishwa, Dadhivaha, Rishabha, Brihgu, Ugra, Atri, Bali, Gautama, Veda, Sriharsha, Gokarna, Shikandaka, Jatamali, Ashtahasana, Dauruka, Langoli, Mahavama, Muni, Shuli, Pinda, Munishwara, Shashishnu, Soma Sharma, Nakula Shrava. The Ishvara Gita. While Lomaharshana was reciting the Kurma Purana to the assembled sages, Krishna Dvaipayana Vedavyasa arrived on the scene. Lomaharshana and the other sages requested Vedavyasa to instruct them about the path to true knowledge. This is what Vedavyasa told them. The Paramatman, the divine soul, is the only truth. It is ever pure and ever present. It is from the Paramatma that the universe is created, and it is into the Paramatma that the universe merges at the time of its destruction. The Paramatma is not the earth. It is not water, energy, wind or sky. It cannot be touched nor can it be sensed. The Paramatman is always present in the Jivatma. Any sense of distinction between the Paramatma and the Jivatma is due to illusions and the presence of the ego. The truly learned rise above such illusion. Therefore, a wise person does not see any distinction between his own self and other objects. The same Paramatman pervades everything. Just as all rivers unite with the ocean, a learned person realizes that all individuals, Jivatmans, unite with the Paramatman. Yoga, literally union, is a unique and a technique of meditation that helps to bring about the sense of identity between the Jivatman and the Paramatman. Yoga has 8 components. The first is pranayama. This means the control of one's breath. The breath of life is known as prana, and ayama means control. There are 3 parts to any pranayama exercise. When the breath is being exhaled, that is known as rechaka, and the process of inhalation is known as puraka. When the breath is neither being inhaled nor exhaled, that is kumbhaka. The second component of yoga is pratyahara. This connotes the control of one's senses. Yoga must always be performed in a proper posture, and this is the third component of asana. The fourth component is called yama. This means the practice of non-violence, truthfulness and pity. The fifth component is known as niyama. This encompasses worship, studying the Vedas, cleanliness and meditation. Yoga has a sixth component named dhyana. In this process, one conjures upon an image of the Paramatman and meditates continuously on it. The process of fixing this image in one's heart is the seventh component, dharana, and the final component, samadhi, is a situation where the individual realizes the complete identity between the Jivatma and Paramatma.